So the only dean I'm recognizing is.
Bishop, if you want to take counsel with us in a second. We're just talking about when it comes to alternates. Deputies.
Aw, that was nice of them. I had blue duct tape, so.
You all can monitor the numbers and just give me guidance. Good. All right. Friends, if the house could come to order, please. And I would like to call the 57th Annual Convention back to order. Welcome back. So before we move into our afternoon business session with the really exciting work of elections and resolutions, we are going to recognize and give thanks for a few important ministries and movements within our diocesan life. I just had a wonderful lunch with our youth and young adult folks who were here. They had a lock-in last night and have been around. Some of them have been part of the Ask Me squad and helping around the convention center. But this is such an incredible group of young people, and they have such a vision for the future of not just youth ministry, but for the church. And so we're going to welcome them this morning, and they're going to help us with the post-lunch fatigue and get us moving a little bit and get our blood pumping a little bit. So let's welcome our youth representatives and delegation.
going to be great. Good afternoon, friends. Before we hear from our youth representative, I want to take just a few moments to share why what you are about to hear matters so deeply to me, to our diocese, and to the future of our church. When I look across this room, I see faces who have known me since I was a teenager and who helped shape my faith before I ever imagined standing here today. You are the ones who invited me into your church, to serving alongside you, to learning from you. You were the ones who made sure my sister and I could go on retreat weekends, even when we couldn't afford it, because you believed those experiences could change our lives, which they did. You prayed for me when my life at home was messy and I strayed from my path, reaching out to one another quietly, carrying me in prayer, even when I didn't know I needed it. You handed me a microphone and put me in leadership roles before I believed I was ready, because you believed in me. Some of you were literally those people in my story: clergy, mentors, youth leaders, and parents of friends. And others of you have done this exact same thing for countless youth in your own communities. Together, you've shown what the church can be: a family that believes in young people, that nurtures their gifts, and that reminds them over and over again just how loved they are, and that Jesus is already at work in their lives. And now, by God's grace, I get to do the same, to walk alongside this new generation, to create spaces where they can discover that same living faith, that same belonging that I did when I was their age. You just saw in the video what this looks like: teenagers praying together, serving together, stepping into leadership, and realizing that church isn't something we do for them. It's something God is calling them to do, for us to do with them. But they can't do it alone, just like I didn't do it alone. They need you, your encouragement, prayers, invitations, and willingness to make room for them in the life of this diocese today. That is why the resolution you're about to hear is so important. So with that, I would like to invite one of our young people, Hannah Swartz, from Christ Church in Bradenton, to read our resolution.
Resolution 25-4, resolution to establish official youth presence at Diocesan Convention. Resolved by the 57th Annual Convention at the Diocese of Southwest Florida meeting in Punta Gorda on October 11, 2025. That an official youth presence with a voice be established for the 58th Annual Convention at the Diocese of Southwest Florida in 2026, to be comprised of 2 youth representatives nominated by each deanery. And it be yet further resolved that the Constitution and the Canons Committee will consider making canonical changes to Canon 1 to provide the creation of an official youth presence with seat, voice, and vote, to be comprised of 2 youth representatives from each deanery by no later than the 59th Annual Convention of the Diocese of Southwest Florida in 2027. Explanation. The resolution is intended as a first step to encourage the continued development of youth participation in the diocese's governance, with the intent to propose a canonical amendment that by the 2027 Diocesan Convention, we will have established an official youth delegation with seat, voice, and vote from each deanery. If this resolution passes, each deanery would need to determine its process for the nomination or selection of its youth representatives for the 58th and 59th Annual Convention in 2027.
This is not just a procedural step, my friends. It's a proclamation of hope. It says that young people belong here, that their voices matter, and that the church of today includes them. My prayer is that we keep moving forward together as one, I pray this room will continue to be filled with stories like mine and like theirs, and that years from now, one of these youth might stand where I'm standing, giving thanks for the ways that you believed in them too. Thank you for being that kind of church, and thank you for the ways you continue to make space for God's call in the lives of our young people.
A huge thank you to Morgan and our youth representatives. That resolution will be brought forward officially by the Resolutions Committee later in our agenda, but we felt it was important that you heard it from our youth. Amen. As Brad Thompson is setting up, I'm going to invite him in a moment as our Executive Director of Dayspring to share just a bit about what's happening at Dayspring. But to connect all of this together, many of you have heard that we have taken basically one position on the bishop's staff and made it at least 2.5 to 3 positions focused on youth and young adult ministry. So Morgan as our missioner for youth and young adult ministry, our camp and outdoor director at Dayspring, and Father Bill Party as our missioner for church planting and new initiatives is making huge progress already with our campus ministries at USF, FGCU, and SCF, and other places as well. So I hope you see the investment that we're trying to make in the next generation of the church and of our diocese. So I'm very grateful to our canon for finance and others who have worked with me to kind of make this a reality and a possibility for us. With that, I'll turn it over to Brad Thompson.
Hello. I'm the new guy. Last year at convention, I was supposed to introduce myself. So I am not Carla Odell. I am your new executive director of Dayspring. I've been here for just over a year now. And I want to walk you through how it's going. So I kicked off our camp staff training this year with a really important message. The mission of camp is not fun. JJ, do you remember when I said, or you weren't there actually. Keo, do you remember when I said it? And everybody's head was like, wait, what? And then I pointed out that fun is what it feels like at camp when we accomplish our mission. The work of Dayspring as your camp and conference center is meant to be very purpose-driven. It might feel and seem rather simple to provide hospitality or recreation or joy. But the simple fact is it's way more complex because it's about belonging. We're called to secure spaces of belonging for all people. And a very interesting part of this is that Dayspring, as your camp and retreat center, is one of the biggest outreaches of this diocese. 85% of the groups that visit your center are not Episcopal. And so it's an amazing, amazing opportunity to say, Dayspring is more than just a place of hospitality, more than just a place of recreation, but it's frankly a place of outreach where we're serving our community and making the Episcopal Church alive in a way that maybe the pews can't do such a good job of, but Dayspring Camp and Conference Center can do it and welcome all people. And so that's why the mission of camp is not fun. It's what it feels like when we accomplish our mission. So I used to be a camp director. I was at Camp Cayuga for a while when we had this really cool activity, and you can probably picture it. You go up a tree, you go across this bridge while you're on belay, and what we used to practice when I was camp director is this kind of reward system. So when you took on a new challenge, you were rewarded with this ability to scream out upon touching the other tree, "Booyah, Grandma!" Because we are a call and response church sometimes, can I get a little booyah? Booyah! No, you did it wrong. So you don't just go booyah, you go booyah, Grandma. All right, so that's how it worked. So we would go up, we would go across the bridge, you would touch the tree, and it was a big booyah, Grandma moment. And what is it about? It's about the mission of camp, which was to help kids overcome fears, to do something in front of each other, to really believe in themselves. And isn't that something that the church should help youth believe in as they walk away from camp each summer. So we rewarded that moment with Booyah Grandma. So that is the theme of my report today. So I just want to give you a little operating update. I believe it was March, Carla Odell retired as your executive director, your longtime executive director of Dayspring. Justin Miller, who's here today, I saw him over there, was our interim director last summer, and I came in September of last year. And again, I'm sort of the new guy because this is my first convention actually introducing myself. A really cool thing that happened about 7 months ago is Carla was recognized by the Episcopal Camp and Conference Center Association for a Lifetime Achievement Award. You deserve to know about that. So I am very delighted to point out that she won that award this year in its inaugural year. And so I just thought that was a really cool thing. Let's all give Carla a booyah.
Booyah.
No, it's Booyah Grandma.
Booyah.
There you go. All right, so my first 3 weeks were really busy, or it was really like 5 weeks, but we got hit by 3 hurricanes, Hurricane Debbie, Hurricane Helene, and Hurricane Milton. Just so you know, if you've never been to Dayspring, we have 97 beautiful, tranquil acres. Guess what? It has a lot of trees, y'all, so when hurricanes hit, it hits hard. And we had this amazing thing come together as we started getting organized for like this new effort with me as the leader and all that sort of stuff. We used to like never ask for any help cleaning up. And we had 22 volunteers come out, and we were able to reopen the property after Hurricane Milton within 48 hours. Can I get a booyah? So Dayspring, just like many camps and conference centers, and frankly, just like your churches, they are always chasing this financial break-even point. And like many centers, we always kind of rotate right around that break-even point. That's kind of the goal each year. And one of the things that we are in is called the dip. Most centers go through a dip right between leadership transition for a variety of reasons, and Mike mentioned it, Canon Mike mentioned it during his finance report, that we are in an intentional dip where we're spending a little bit more than what we make, and I at least want to explain why that is. So the dip happens in most cases when transition happens because of a number of things. Lower continuity in habitual spending. So one thing that I want to point out to you is your previous executive director, Carla. She was the Beyonce of running Dayspring on zero cash. So let me explain. There's no such thing as running anything without zero cash. And 2, I'm not Beyonce. You're welcome for that. So some groups don't return during transitional times, loss of experience, you have budgeting unknowns, things like that. Changing priorities also change when you go through a leadership transition. And sometimes you just get hit by 3 hurricanes, and it stinks. I think all of us can agree that transition comes with turbulence. So we've experienced that turbulence at your center, but I'm very delighted to say that we're turning it around. Just in the last year, we've seen a 16% increase in the number of groups visiting your center. That constitutes an over $200,000 difference in terms of what we earned last year with what we earned this year. Can I get a booyah on that one? Camp Dayspring was folded into the Dayspring umbrella. We served more campers than we ever have. Can I get a booyah, Grandma? We've gone through a very intentional effort to bring in quality staffing from the outside. We were very blessed to have a new guest services director from a really renowned center called Camp McDowell in the Diocese of Alabama. So hospitality is really increasing, and we're really showing care in the work we do. We also brought in Camp Director Buddy Payne. Some of you may understand this because you already saw the sort of necrology report there. Very unfortunately, even though Buddy joined us April 1st of this year to be our camp director, he tragically died after camp. It's something that's been really a hard thing, but I have at least a little bit of pleasure in reporting back to you. Your Dayspring staff, who has been working very, very hard on refining our leadership, has been resilient. Your Camp Dayspring staff has been amazing in contributing to the effort to bring on a new camp director, we're going to need a booyah for Buddy Payne. But we're going to need a booyah for the staff who are going to pick up the pieces from this tragedy. Let's hear it. I need a bigger one than that. Come on now. So we are your Episcopal Camp and Conference Center Sanctuary. We are currently working on refining our mission statement. We are going to need a mission statement that really invites the transformation and names the work that we're going to do going forward. Can I get a booyah on transformation, y'all? We're also going through the steps of refining our master plan. Some of you know that we've been in about a 12-year period of time talking about our master plan. We built Klein Hall to be an excellent conference center facility for our diocese. We're also planning to replace some of our adult housing because we are indeed called to serve a modern world. And my friends, the modern world also needs to have youth spaces that provide that transformation. So we're going back through our master plan to say, hey, what didn't we do right? What can we do better? And we're putting youth and all of the needs that we have at the forefront of that work while also acknowledging that the modern world needs us to get new bedrooms at Dayspring. Can I get a booyah on that one? Canon Mike, pardon me. Also announced that we are going to invite the Episcopal Church to rediscover this amazing asset and this amazing ministry that you are the owners of by providing a 10% discount for any Episcopal group that wants to come. Can I get a booyah on that one? So these are our priorities, y'all. We know we're supposed to provide resources for the Episcopal Church and not just be a resource of the Episcopal Church. We're supposed to provide resources to youth, not just be a place where it happens. But we're also very clear that we're called to serve the wider sort of diocesan community that do not identify as Episcopalians. We do very important work with a lot of organizations that are leveraging our property to be able to invite that transformation. And so I know that some of you were hoping I brought balloons today. I do not bring balloons, but I do bring a little booyah. So we're focused on the right things. Let's hear some booyah. And last but not least, my friends, when you rediscover Dayspring and when you come out and see that we are really changing the momentum out there, the one thing I want you to remember is that this is just not a diocesan institution. It's not a diocesan ministry. It is our Episcopal sanctuary out in the woods that we are called by the people who came before us to use, to utilize, and experience the transformation that those who founded it wanted for you, for your vestry, for your youth groups. So please, in one more time, things are going good at Dayspring, my friends. Can I get a booyah? Booyah. Thank you very much, Bishop. I wonder if I get a sharp nod or sharp for saying booyah, Grandma, so many times.
The sharp shake, my goodness. Oh, there we go. We have a lot of great things happening in the diocese. Earlier, I recognized elected leaders in our diocese who were ending their service. I'd like to conclude our recognitions with those who have been appointed to service, who are ending their time. The very Reverend Bob Douglas is completing his term as the Tampa Dean. Would you come forward, Bob? And the Reverend Mary Alice Lopez is completing her term on the Commission on Ministry. Mary Alice, are you still here? Come forward. I will recognize the Reverend Canon Dr. Carla McCook, also ending her service on the Commission on Ministry. She is now the Canon to the Ordinary in the Diocese of Southern Virginia. Yeah, we can clap for that. The Reverend Jonathan Evans and the Reverend Roy Tuff, I mentioned earlier, have also taken calls outside the diocese. I would like to award one final blue bottle for today, and it's another tremendous leader, a clergy leader, who served for 20 plus years as the rector of St. James in Port Charlotte, and served on more committees and commissions than I can count here in the diocese, as well as a several-time deputy to General Convention. That is the very Reverend Cesar Olivero. I'd actually like to invite the delegation from St. James to come forward and receive a blue bottle on his behalf. One more time. We will now move into the first agenda item in the second business session, the report on nominations, elections, and further explanation of the process, and I'll call upon the Reverend Canon Richard Norman.
Thank you, Bishop. There should be no voting until this report is finished. Each of you have been provided with a copy of the 57th Diocesan Convention booklet. Each election is headed with a letter, A through I. Note the title of the position. Note that each election lists the proper number of individuals to be voted upon. Note the names of those pre-qualified as candidates. At each election, we will have the opportunity for nominations from the floor. Please note the following provisions for additional names. They must be informed of their candidacy. They must be willing to serve. They must be canonically qualified, and we require an exact spelling of each name. Election B will only begin after Election A is concluded. Would you like me to repeat anything?
Is there anything about the voting process that anyone needs clarification on or has questions about? Election A.
Please navigate to the vPoll platform on your electronic device to verify that you are still logged on and ready to vote.
I'll give just a few moments for you all to do that. If you need assistance, please raise your hand. I see someone in the back here near the Minnesota Deanery sign that may need assistance. Back here to my left. If anyone else needs assistance, please raise your hand. All right, it appears that we are ready to proceed. So I will call upon Canon Norman to facilitate election A.
Thank you, Bishop. Election A, Standing Committee Presbyter. Elect one presbyter to a 3-year term. Bishop, we currently have 2 candidates standing for election. It would be appropriate this time to open the floor for nominations.
The floor is open for nominations for election A, Standing Committee Presbyter. Seeing no one moving to a microphone, do I have a motion to close nominations? Second. All in favor of closing nominations? Any opposed? Canon Norman, please proceed.
We have 1 presbyter position available for the Standing Committee to a 3-year term. We have 2 candidates for that position. Under our canons, you may vote for 1 candidate. At this time, please navigate to the vPoll platform to cast your vote. You may select 1. As you make your selection, a check mark will appear next to your choice. If you make a selection you wish to change, please click on the answer again and the check mark will disappear. Then you can make a new choice. Once you have made your selection, please press submit. The vote will be open for another 30 seconds. The voting is now closed. Please show the vPoll results.
The Reverend Brian O'Carroll has received 172 votes. The Reverend Matthew Grunfeld, 94. We have an election. The Reverend Brian O'Carroll. I will now call upon Canon Norman to facilitate election B.
Election B, Standing Committee, lay, elect 2 laypersons to a 3-year term. Bishop, we currently have 2 candidates standing for election. It would be appropriate at this time to open the floor for nominations.
The floor is now open for nominations for election B, Standing Committee, lay. Seeing no one moving to a microphone, do I have a motion to close nominations? Second. All in favor of closing nominations? Any opposed? Canon Norman.
Bishop, it'd be appropriate at this time to call for an election by acclamation.
All those in favor of affirming Mr. Steve Strasky and Ms. by acclamation, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Stephen Strasky and Linda Tandy are elected to Standing Committee lay representatives. I will call upon Canon Norman to facilitate election C.
Election C, Diocesan Council at Large, lay, elect 2 laypersons to a 2-year term. Bishop, we currently have 1 candidate standing for election. It'd be appropriate at this time to open the floor for nominations.
The floor is now open for nominations for election C, Diocesan Council at Large. And please state your name and church before addressing the chair.
Bishop, my name is Linda Tandy from Church of the Epiphany, Cape Coral. I'd like to nominate Jackie Smith.
The name of Jackie Smith is being submitted as an nomination from the floor.
Hi, I'm Patricia Mirth from St. James in Port Charlotte, and I would like to nominate Brother Dominic Liconi.
Okay, thank you. Can you please provide that name, the spelling of that name up here to the desk? Because we will need to add those names to the V poll. While we are receiving that name, are there any other nominations from the floor for election C, Diocesan Council at Large? Seeing no one moving to the microphone, do I have a motion to close nominations? Second, thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Just give us a moment. We need to add those names to the V poll voting platform.
We have 2 lay positions available for Diocesan Council at Large for a 2-year term each. We have 3 candidates for those positions. Under our canons, you may vote for 1 or 2 candidates. At this time, please navigate to the V-Poll platform to cast your vote. Once you've made your selections, press Submit.
Yes, microphone 1.
I just had a procedural question. Do we know that the 2 people who were nominated actually accept the nomination?
Thank you for that procedural clarification. Can we have confirmation that the 2 individuals nominated from the floor accept this nomination? Ms. Jackie Smith, can you? We have verbal confirmation of acceptance from Jackie Smith and Dominic. So yes, both candidates have accepted. Thank you very much for that clarification. The vote now proceeds on your devices.
The vote will remain open for 30 more seconds. Voting is now closed. Would you please show the V-Poll results?
We have an election. Ms. Joni James and Ms. Jacqueline Smith have been elected as Diocesan Council at Large lay representatives. I will call upon Canon Norman to proceed with election D.
Election D, Ecclesiastical Disciplinary Board, clergy, elect 3 laypersons to a 3-year term. Oh, excuse me, 2. Yep, 2. Well, sorry, typo on our side. Right.
I think you said Larry.
Yeah. It's lay, Ecclesiastical Disciplinary Board, lay. Oh, D is clergy. My mistake, Bishop.
Yeah, we're on D.
Yes. In our notes,
D.
yeah, it's clergy. Right.
I
Okay.
think you said lay instead of clergy.
Oh, okay. My mistake. I misspoke. Let's try that again.
But we're only electing 2.
Right.
It says 2 in the thing.
Yeah.
Let's check the website. It's 2.
2. Bishop, I'll try that again. Election D, Ecclesiastical Disciplinary Board. Clergy, elect 2. Is that correct, Bishop? We're having some feedback on that.
I can't tell by looking at mine. Yeah, just give us a moment. We have some confusion between the technology and. Yes. Are we good to go?
I am.
Just checking with people. Yeah. All right. I think we just had to make sure everything was talking the same. So.
Ecclesiastical Disciplinary Board, election D. Clergy, elect 2 to a 3-year term. Bishop, we currently have 4 candidates standing for election. It would be appropriate this time to open the floor for nominations.
The floor is now open for election D for nominations. Microphone 1.
Yeah, I do not have a nomination. I have a technical question. I'm looking at the app, and in my case, we skip from C to E, so I've not been able to read the bios of any of the candidates for this particular position. I'm new to the diocese and don't know them personally. I apologize.
So in the app,
On the website,
On
where
the
the bios are
website.
located? Mine jumps from election C, Diocesan Council lay, to election nominees, election D, disciplinary board lay, without the interceding D and the 4 candidates.
yeah, I'm looking at the website and I'm seeing election D, so I'm not sure where the glitch is on here.
It's on me. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Microphone 1.
Ken McCaslin from St. Monica's, Naples. I am listed as Ken in the brochure, and that's what I go by, but on my name tag it says H. Kenneth, and you said exact name, so I'm not sure what my name should be.
That's for nominations.
Yeah. What would you like it to be?
I really like Ken.
Okay. Thank you. To be clear, the Reverend Ken McCaslin, this is he right here. So also, just as a matter of procedure, we are accepting nominations from the floor. So if you have a procedural comment or question, please hold that until nominations are closed. Seeing nobody moving to a microphone, do I have a motion to close nominations? Second. All in favor of closing nominations? Any opposed? Canon Norman, please proceed.
Thank you, Bishop. We have 2 clergy positions available for the Ecclesiastical Disciplinary Board. We have 4 candidates for those positions. At this time, please navigate to the VPoll platform to cast your vote. You may select 2 Once you have made your selections, press Submit. Voting will be open for another 30 seconds. Voting is now closed.
All right, please show the results.
Please show the V-poll results.
So the Reverend Whitney Burton has been elected, but we do not have a second person elected. So we will proceed with a second ballot with Deacon Ken McCaslin, the Reverend Deacon Ken McCaslin, the Reverend David Gould, and the Reverend Scott Nonkin remaining on the ballot. And on the second ballot, this will still be a majority vote.
We have one clergy position available for the Ecclesiastical Disciplinary Board. We have 3 candidates for those positions. At this time, please navigate to the V-poll platform to cast your vote. Once you've made your selection, please press Submit. The vote will be open for 30 more seconds. Voting is now closed.
Please show the results. We do not have an election, so I'm going to call upon our Chancellor to explain our options.
Thank you, Bishop. I believe this is live. Thank you, Bishop. Pursuant to the canons, convention at its pleasure could move to a plurality vote, but only if 2/3 of those members here present and voting so vote for that. Otherwise, we continue with a majority requirement.
So we will move to a third ballot, but if 2/3 of the convention concurs, this third ballot will be by plurality, whoever gets the most votes, as opposed to a majority. So I will just put that to the convention. All in favor of moving to a plurality on the third ballot, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We will proceed with a third ballot, and we will calculate by plurality the winner.
We have one clergy position available for the Ecclesiastical Disciplinary Board. We have 3 candidates for that position. At this time, please navigate to vPoll to cast your vote. Once you've made your selection, please press Submit. Voting will be open for 30 more seconds. Voting is closed.
Please show the results. We have an election, the Reverend Deacon Ken McCaslin. Thank you. All right, I will call upon the Reverend Canon Norman to proceed with election E.
Election E, Ecclesiastical Disciplinary Board, lay, elect 2 laypersons to a 3-year term. Bishop, we currently have 1 candidate standing for election. It would be appropriate this time to open the floor for nominations.
The floor is now open for nominations for election E, Ecclesiastical Disciplinary Board lay. And there are folks moving to microphones. Is someone standing at microphone 2? Yes, microphone 2.
I am Maisie Reddy, a member of St. James House of Prayer. I would like to nominate Navita Cummings James.
Thank you. Navita Cummings James, if you were in the House, can you indicate that you accept this nomination? Thank you. You have confirmation. And I believe we have the spelling of your name. So, microphone 1.
Reverend Jessica Babcock, St. Mark's, Marco Island. I'd like to nominate Judy Hughes, our senior warden at St. Mark's.
Judy Hughes.
Hughes.
Hughes. Is Judy Hughes in the convention hall? Do you accept your nomination? Great, thank you. Thank you. Microphone number 1.
Ken McCaslin again. I nominate Susan Decimo from St. Monica's.
Thank you. We will need that name at the desk, please. Thank you. Is Susan here? Do you accept the nomination? Thank you. Please give us a moment to enter these names into the vPoll platform. Seeing no other individuals moving to a microphone, do I have a motion to close nominations for election E? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Nominations are now closed. Canon Norman.
We have 2 lay positions available for the Ecclesiastical Disciplinary Board for a 3-year term. We have 4 candidates for those positions. Once you have made your selections, please press Submit. Thirty seconds remaining. Voting is closed. Please show the V-poll results.
We have an election. Mr. Ray Stoll and Dr. Navita Cummings James have been elected to 3-year terms on the Ecclesiastical Disciplinary Board. I will now call upon Canon Norman to facilitate election F.
Election F, University of the South Trustee, Presbyter. Elect one presbyter to a 3-year term, a term which begins the 1st of July 2026 and concludes the 30th of June 2029. Bishop, we currently have 2 candidates standing for election. It'd be appropriate at this time to open the floor for nominations.
The floor is open for nominations for election F, University of the South Trustee, Presbyter. Seeing no one moving to a microphone, do I have a motion to close nominations for election F? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? The nominations are now closed. Canon Norman.
Thank you, Bishop. We have 1 presbyter position available for the University of the South Trustee for a 3-year term. We have 2 candidates for that position. Once you have made your selection, please press submit. Thirty seconds remaining. Voting is closed. Please show the V-poll results.
We have an election, the Very Reverend Charles Cannon, to a 3-year term on the University of South Trustee, Presbyter. I will now call upon Canon Norman to facilitate election G.
Election G, University of the South Trustee, lay. Elect one layperson to a 3-year term, which begins the 1st of July 2026 and concludes the 30th of June 2029. Bishop, we currently have 2 candidates standing for election. It would be appropriate at this time to open the floor for nominations.
The floor is now open for nominations for election G, University of the South Trustee, lay. Seeing no one moving to a microphone, do I have a motion to close nominations for election G? Second. All in favor of closing nominations? Any opposed? The nominations are now closed. Canon Norman.
We have 1 lay position available for the University of the South Trustee for a 3-year term. We have 2 candidates for that position. At this time, please navigate to the V-poll platform to cast your vote. Once you've made your selection, please press submit. Thirty seconds remaining. Voting is closed. Please show the V-poll results.
We have an election. Mr. Jimmy Robbins has been elected as a University of the South trustee lay. I will now call upon Canon Norman to facilitate election H.
Election H, General Convention, Clergy. Elect 4 clergy deputies to a 3-year term. Elect 2 clergy alternate deputies to a 3-year term. Bishop, we currently have 10 candidates standing for election. It would be appropriate at this time to open the floor for nominations.
The floor is now open for nominations for General Convention Deputy Clergy, election H. Seeing no one moving to a microphone, do I have a motion to close nominations for election H? Second. All in favor of closing nominations? Any opposed? Canon Norman.
Bishop, we have 4 clergy positions available and 2 alternate positions available for General Convention deputation to a 3-year term. We have 10 candidates for those positions. At this time, please navigate to the V-poll platform to cast your vote. You may select 4. Once you have made your selections, press submit. Thirty seconds.
Bishop, I just wanted to call out the fact that there's a typo in the V-poll. That
Okay.
is the Reverend Lisa Hamilton, not Linda.
Oh, thank you for that. The Reverend Lisa Hamilton, not Linda Hamilton. Thank you for that correction. Thank you. Our chancellor has ruled that that constitutes an invalid ballot. So we will make that correction and start this ballot, the first ballot for election H again. So please give us a moment. Microphone number 1.
Father Michael Durning, St. Margaret of Scotland Church in Sarasota. I have a question, Bishop. Is it correct that those who finish in the elections number 5 and 6 become the alternates?
Yeah.
What's that?
That's right. You know, he's just asking for the future.
So from the chancellor, our canons are not explicit on how alternates are selected. So after we elect 4, we would have the option to take a 2/3 vote to adopt 5 and 6 in order as alternates.
Thank you.
Further clarification from the Chancellor, we can actually entertain that motion now. So if there is a motion that we would elect 4, just to be clear, we would elect 4, you're voting for 4, the individuals who are 5 and 6 would automatically become alternates, if that's the motion. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Now, if there's any debate on that motion or questions? Are you all clear what the motion is? Voting for 4 deputies, 1 vote, 5 and 6 become the alternates. Microphone number 1.
I'm just curious to understand why we might not vote for 6 rather than just 4. So I understand that there are 4 positions with 2 alternates, but if we're going to make a motion to have 5 and 6 be the winners at the alternate seats, I'm curious why we wouldn't cast 6 votes and those 6 votes be counted in order.
Yeah, the sense of the chair is that the canons require us to elect 4.
Okay, thank you.
And so we are electing 4, and then the 5 and 6 will serve as alternates and be called upon if needed. Microphone number 1.
Bruce Reed, All Souls. Just a question, is there precedent for this? You've had to have gone through this before. What did you do in the past? Because, you know, in some bylaws, precedents take place if there's nothing written in the bylaws or in the canons.
Right. Do we know?
I don't.
Yes, the parliamentarian is informing that this has been procedurally the way it has been done at times in the past. Yes, microphone number 1.
Edward Gleason, Trinity by the Cove. I'm just wanting to clarify that this will be a majority vote, not a plurality.
That is correct. Just to be clear, the majority vote is for the 4 being elected. 5 and 6 next in order in numbers of votes would not necessarily be subject to that same requirement. They'd simply be in order. Is that clear? Okay. All right, so the motion is still on the floor. We need a 2/3 majority to proceed with the election of 4, and 5 and 6 would automatically serve as first and second alternates. All in favor? Any opposed? So that is how we will proceed. The Canon Norman.
Thank you, Bishop. We have 4 clergy positions available, 2 alternate positions available for General Convention deputation to a 3-year term. We have 10 candidates for those positions. At this time, please navigate to the V-poll platform to cast your vote. You may select 4. Once you have made your selections, please press submit.
Microphone number 1.
I'm sorry, Bishop Melissa Rao, St. Mark's, Venice. I'm curious if we must submit the required votes per ballot.
No, you are not.
It actually is requiring us to do that. And so I just wanted to name that one may not submit unless they cast for. Sorry.
Right. My friends, we are being surprised by the Spirit. So I have the sad duty of saying that this ballot is now invalid because we did not format it properly so that you would be able to select less than 4. You are not canonically required to select 4. So we need to restart the ballot. You're voting for 4, but you do not have to vote for 4. That is the distinction between the previous ballot and now.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yes, it is. Yep. At this time, please navigate to V-poll platform to cast your vote. You may select 4. Once you have made your selections, please press submit. Thirty seconds remaining.
Okay, let's go on.
Voting is closed. Please show the results on the V-poll.
We have elected 2. The Very Reverend Michelle Robert Shaw and the Reverend Ryan Whitley have been elected. Their names will now be taken off the ballot. We will proceed with the whatever number ballot we're on. And I'll call on Canon Norman to explain the voting.
Thank you, Bishop. We have 2 clergy positions available and 2 alternate positions available for General Convention deputation to a 3-year term. We have 8 candidates for those positions. At this time, please navigate to the VPoll platform to cast your vote. You may select 2. Once you have made your selections, please press submit.
You're voting for up to 2, and if we have an election, 3 and 4 on this ballot will be the alternates.
Time. Yep. Voting is ended. Please show the VPoll results.
We do not have an election. So, in all seriousness, we just concluded the second ballot per the canons as we've done with previous ballots. It would be appropriate to entertain a motion to move to a plurality vote. All in favor of moving to a plurality vote? Any opposed? So we will now move to a third ballot electing 2. The highest 2 vote getters will be elected. The 3rd and 4th deputies. The 3rd and 4th will be alternates.
Is there a way in which we could do a plurality vote for the remaining 4 slots?
That's what we're doing. So this, am I correct, Chancellor? Yes.
So we're doing, so the
You're voting for 2, up to 2. The highest vote getters will be elected, the 3rd and 4th deputies. And then whoever's in the 3rd and 4th spots on this ballot will be alternates.
But wouldn't that mean that we would vote for 4? No.
We've already elected 2. 2 have been elected on the first ballot.
Right, but are the last 2 in the plurality going to be the alternates? That's what I'm suggesting. No.
If I'm understanding your question correctly, when we conclude ballot 3, the top 2 will be deputies 3 and 4. Slots 3 and 4 will be the alternates on the screen. Is that clear? I will now call upon Canon Norman to facilitate ballot 3 of election H.
We have 2 clergy positions available and 2 alternate positions available for General Convention deputation to a 3-year term. We have 8 candidates for those positions. At this time, please navigate to the VPoll platform to cast your vote. You may select 2. Once you've made your selections, please press submit.
Yeah, if you need assistance, please raise your hand. Okay, we're at 265.
Voting is closed. Please post the results.
Based on our previous motion to vote by plurality, the Very Reverend Jessica Babcock and the Reverend Adrian Himes have been elected as deputies, and the Reverend Sandra Rogers and the Reverend Matthew Grunfeld are alternates. We are done with election H. But we are not done with elections. So I will call upon Canon Norman for election I.
Thank you, Bishop. Election I, General Convention, lay, elect 4 lay deputies to a 3-year term. Elect 2 lay alternate deputies to a 3-year term. Bishop, we currently have 7 candidates standing for election. It'd be appropriate at this time to open the floor for nominations.
The floor is open for nominations for election I, General Convention Deputy Lay. Seeing no one moving to a microphone, do I have a motion to close nominations? All in favor, second? All in favor of closing nominations for election I? Any opposed? At this time, before I call upon Canon Norman, I will remind you that it would be appropriate to offer a motion to conduct this election as we had initially voted to conduct election H, which is vote for 4, but 5 and 6 are automatically alternates. Right. The 4 are by majority. We're not voting plurality. The 4 are by majority. Then 5 and 6 are alternates, not subject to majority. That's the motion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Canon Norman, please proceed.
We have 4 lay positions available and 2 alternate positions available for General Convention deputation to a 3-year term. We have 7 candidates for those positions. At this time, please navigate to the vPoll platform to cast your vote. You may select 4. Once you've made your selections, please press submit.
Microphone 1.
That, just to be clear, we're talking about up to 4?
Up to 4.
Up to 4.
Up to 4, yes. Thank you. The voting is now open.
Thirty seconds remaining. Voting is closed. Please show the results.
We have 3 elections. Candidate Mike Boer, Mr. Dwayne Hollier, and Ms. Jerry Gardner have been elected as General Convention lay deputies. We will now proceed with a second ballot, and you will be electing 1.
We have 1 lay position available and 2 alternate positions available for General Convention deputation to a 3-year term. We have 4 candidates for those positions. At this time, please navigate to vPoll platform to cast your vote. You may select 1. Once you've made your selections, please press Submit. Voting is closed. Please show the vPoll results.
We do not have an election, so we will move to a third ballot. According to the canons, as we move to a third ballot, it would be appropriate to entertain a motion to move to a plurality vote. Second. All in favor on the third ballot of moving to a plurality vote, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? We will now move to a third ballot. Canon Norman?
We have 1 lay position available and 2 alternate positions available for General Convention deputation to a 3-year term. We have 4 candidates for those positions. At this time, please navigate to the vPoll platform to cast your vote. You may select 1. Once you have made your selection, please press Submit. Voting is closed. Please show the results.
According to our resolution to vote by plurality, Ms. Jacqueline Smith has been elected as the 4th deputy. Ms. Melissa Rao and Mr. Justin Miller will serve as alternate 1 and alternate 2. I am pleased to report that concludes our elections. Thank you, Canon Norman. I will now call upon our dispatch of business, Ms. Paula Paquette, to proceed with the next 3 agenda items, which are confirmation votes.
Thank you, Bishop Scharf. The following people were elected at their deanery convocations to serve on diocesan council. Their election is subject to convention approval. Representing the Clearwater Deanery, the Reverend John Roberts from Calvary, Indian Rocks Beach, serving a 1st term. Representing the Fort Myers Deanery, the Reverend Bill Van Oss from St. Michael and All Angels in Sanibel, serving a 3rd term. Representing the Minnesota Deanery, Ms. Mary Page Hill from Church of the Redeemer, Sarasota, serving a 3rd term. Representing the Naples Deanery, the Reverend Marcella Draughty from Trinity by the Cove, Naples, serving a 1st term, and Mr. Steve Palesy from Trinity by the Cove, Naples, serving an unexpired 1st term. Representing the St. Petersburg Deanery, the Reverend Rob Crow from St. Augustine's, St. Pete, serving a 2nd term, and Ms. Katie Cross from St. John the Divine, Sun City Center, serving a 3rd term. Representing the Venice Deanery, Mr. Randy Arsenault from the Church of the Good Shepherd, Punta Gorda, serving a 3rd term.
Bishop, it would be appropriate this time to call for a voice vote for confirmation of deanery representatives to council.
All those in favor of confirming the deanery representatives to convention, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Dispatch.
The following people have been appointed by Bishop Douglas Scharf to the Commission on Ministry for a 3-year term with no more than 2 consecutive terms. Lay appointments are Mary Jane Park, serving a 2nd 3-year term, and Chris Vasquez, serving her 1st full 3-year term. The deacon appointment is the Reverend Tanya Wilkes, who is fulfilling an unexpired 3-year term. Presbyter appointments are the Reverend Janet Janelle, who is fulfilling an unexpired 3-year term, the Reverend Alexander Andahar, who is fulfilling an unexpired 3-year term, the Reverend Steve Zimmerman, serving his 1st 3-year term, and the Reverend Nikki Seeger, serving her 2nd 3-year term.
Bishop, it'd be appropriate at this time to call for a voice vote for confirmation of appointments to the Commission on Ministry.
All those in favor of confirming the appointments to the Commission on Ministry, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Dispatch.
The following people have been appointed by Bishop Douglas Scharf as canonical deans for a 1-year term with no more than 3 consecutive terms. The Very Reverend Charles Cannon, representing the Fort Myers Deanery, serving his 3rd term. The Very Reverend Daniel Lemley, representing the Clearwater Deanery, serving his 2nd term. The Very Reverend David Marshall, representing the Minnesota Deanery, serving his 2nd term. The Very Reverend Jessica Babcock, representing the Naples Deanery, serving her 2nd term. The Very Reverend Ethan Cole, representing the St. Petersburg Deanery, serving his 3rd-year term. The Reverend Adrian Himes, representing the Tampa Deanery, serving her 1st term. The Very Reverend Vicki McDonald, representing the Venice Deanery, serving her 1st term.
Thank you, Dispatch. These are appointments by the bishop and do not require confirmation. I will now call upon Mr. Greg Hearing to make the report from the Resolutions Committee.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Bishop. Bishop, we have 4 resolutions coming from the Resolutions Committee. I understand Convention might want a 5th one on what to do in plurality, but we'll perhaps worry about that next year. But you do, under the canons, have the right to propose a resolution convention here by 2/3 vote for something, but I think you might want to read that one so we can avoid that. So, Bishop, Resolution 25-1 is a resolution regarding Canon 7, Section 5B, and it reads, resolved by the 57th Convention of the Diocese of Southwest Florida meeting in Punta Gorda on October 11th, 2025, that Canon 7, Section 5B, be amended to provide, it shall be the duty of the Congregational Council to take charge of, and this is the new language, and hold in trust for the benefit of the congregation and the diocese, That's the end of the new language. The real and personal properties of the congregation, and keep the same fully insured to provide for the remuneration and reimbursement of the clergy and other ministers and employees serving the congregation, to prepare a budget providing for the necessary requirements and expenditures of the congregation, to regulate all its temporal concerns, to keep order in the church during the celebration of divine worship, and in general, to act as helpers in whatever is appropriate to laypersons for the furtherance of the church's welfare. In explanation, the reason this is offered is it would confirm a congregation's obligation to hold and maintain real property in trust for the benefit of the congregation and the diocese, as set forth in Canon 1.7.4 and Canon 7.4 of the Constitution and Canons of the Protestant Episcopal Church in the United States of America, otherwise known as the Episcopal Church. The trust clause ensures that before any property is conveyed, transferred, or encumbered, written consent and approval must be obtained from the bishop and diocesan council. The committee reports this resolution to the floor with the recommendation that the resolution be passed because this canon further ensures that the Congregational Council expressly understands its responsibility regarding real property, and that it includes that said real property is protected from conveyance, encumbrance, or transfer without the express written approval of the bishop and diocesan council. And in further explanation, it is our belief as well from the committee that this protects the local churches and parishes as much as the diocese, because we have had some issues in the past with local churches taking action diocese did not know, and the resources such as Canon Bucher, the Vice Chancellor Durant, who's a real property trust and estates lawyer, and myself have not been called to bear to help out with that. So that's the basis for it, Bishop, from the committee.
This comes from committee through diocesan council, has been adopted by council, therefore does not need a second. Is there any discussion or question? We will proceed with a voice vote. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 2025-1, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution passes.
Bishop,
Chancellor.
Resolution 2025-2 is a resolution regarding Canon 5, Section 1, and it is just in the nature of confirmation to what the diocesan constitution is, to bring the canon in line with the Constitution, sir. And it provides, resolved by the 57th Annual Convention of the Diocese of Southwest Florida, meeting in Punta Gorda on October 11th, 2025, that Canon 5, Section 1 be amended to provide. Section 1, the Diocesan Council, subject to the provisions of the Constitution and canons of the Episcopal Church in this diocese, and the direction of the convention, shall have oversight of the work of the diocese and of such other work as may be submitted to it by the convention of the diocese. The bishop shall be executive head of all such work, and the council shall assist the bishop in fulfilling the duties and responsibilities of that office. A lay member of diocesan council is a member of convention entitled to seat, voice, and vote, and then the rest of the prior canon would be struck. And again, the explanation is this word for word aligns the canon with the constitution of the diocese.
This comes from committee, has been adopted by diocesan council. It does not need a second. Is there any discussion or questions? All in favor of adopting Resolution 2025-2, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Chancellor.
Excuse me, too many bulas earlier. Bishop, we have a third resolution, Resolution 2025-3, and it is a resolution regarding Canon 5, Section 3B. It's also in the nature of cleanup and conformance with the canon and the Constitution. It provides, resolved by the 57th Annual Convention of the Diocese of Southwest Florida, meeting in Punta Gorda on October 11th, 2025, that Canon 5, Section 3B be amended to provide: B, any bishop coadjutor, any bishop suffragan, and the president of the standing committee and the chancellor of the diocese ex officio without vote. Again, that lines up exactly as the Constitution provides, Bishop.
This resolution comes from committee and has been adopted by Diocesan Council. It does not need a second. Is there any discussion or questions? All in favor of adopting Resolution 2025-3, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Chancellor.
And then finally, Bishop, we have a fourth resolution, Resolution 25-4. It was already read very ably and quite impressively by youth of our diocese, and rather, if with your discretion, Bishop, I'd rather not read it again since they can see it, and I can't do any better than our youth did.
Great. This resolution comes from the Resolutions Committee. It does not need a second. Any discussion or question? That very well might be an appropriate way to take this vote, but all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let's clap for that. That's great. That's good.
Nothing further from resolutions, Bishop.
Thank you, Chancellor. I will now call upon our, microphone number one.
Bishop Sharp, Bob Alter from St. John's, Tampa. Apologies to all the clergy and delegates. We believe that the Tampa Deanery representative, the elected representative, was not announced when you did the deanery appointments.
Do you have that name?
Yes, it's Reverend Mother Caroline Devitt.
She's on the list, so.
I don't believe we heard her.
It was
Oh, she skipped the line. Okay. Thank you for that catch. So representing the St. Petersburg Deanery, the Reverend Rob Crow from St. Augustine's, St. Pete, having a second term, and representing the Tampa Deanery, the Reverend Caroline Devitt from St. John's, Tampa, serving an unexpired first term, and Miss Katie Cross from St. John the Divine Sun City Center, serving a third term. Does that cover anything that was missed, Secretary? Does that cover what okay. Yeah, so let's just do a voice vote so that we don't miss anything and make sure everyone has been confirmed. All in favor of confirming those representatives to Diocesan Council from their respective deaneries, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you for that, that catch. I'd like to call upon Miss Susan Park to offer the courtesy resolutions.
On behalf of the 57th Annual Convention of the Diocese of Southwest Florida, we take pleasure in moving that a greeting be sent to our presiding bishop, the Most Reverend Sean Rowe, in which we convey that we thank God for his leadership affecting the local and global level, and we commit to continue holding him in our prayers. Our presiding bishops who are retired from active service, in which we convey to them that we continue to hold them in our prayers and continue to thank God for the leadership they gave as presiding bishop and continue to give as bishops in the church. The Most Reverend Catherine Jeffert Shorey, the Most Reverend Michael B. Curry. Our diocesan bishops who have retired from active service and their spouses. The fourth Bishop of the Diocese of Southwest Florida, the Reverend John Lipscomb and Mrs. Marcy Lipscomb, Mrs. Mary Wallace Smith, widow of the late Right Reverend Dabney T. Smith, 5th Bishop of the Diocese of Southwest Florida. Our ecumenical partner of the Florida Bahamas Synod, the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and their bishop, the Reverend Pedro Suarez, assuring them of our prayers and unending support. Our companion diocese of the Dominican Republic and their bishops, assuring them of our prayers and desire to be supportive in our partnership with them as companion dioceses. The Right Reverend Moises Quezada Mota, Bishop, the Right Reverend Julio C. Holguin Curry, resigned. We also take pleasure in moving that a greeting be sent to those congregations celebrating milestone anniversaries. Church of the Ascension, Clearwater, celebrating 140 years. St. Luke's Episcopal Church, Fort Myers, celebrating 140 years. St. James House of Prayer, Episcopal Church, Tampa, celebrating 130 years. Holy Innocents Episcopal Church, Valrico, celebrating 75 years. Trinity by the Cove Episcopal Church, Naples, celebrating 75 years. St. Vincent's Episcopal Church, St. Petersburg, celebrating 70 years. St. Mary's Episcopal Church, Palmetto, celebrating 60 years. St. John's Episcopal Church, Naples, celebrating 55 years. Church of the Good Shepherd, LaBelle, celebrating 50 years. St. John's Episcopal Church of Pine Island, St. James City, celebrating 50 years. Lamb of God Church, a Lutheran Episcopal congregation, Estero, celebrating 40 years. St. Paul's Episcopal Church, Wesley Chapel, celebrating 5 years. On behalf of the 57th Annual Convention of the Diocese of Southwest Florida, we take pleasure in moving that a vote of thanks and appreciation be sent to our Chancellor, Mr. Gregory Hearing, our Chancellor Emeritus, Ted Tripp, and to the Diocesan Vice Chancellors, Mr. Michael Durant, South Deaneries, Mr. Reed Russell, North Deaneries, Ms. Susan Park, Central Deaneries, Ms. Britton Swank, at large. Those serving in this convention as canonically required officers and committee chairs, Ms. Wendy Martucci, Secretary of the Convention, the Reverend Canon Richard Norman, Credentials Committee, Nominating Committee, Election Committee, Ms. Paula Paquette, Committee on the Dispatch of Business, Mr. Gregory Hearing, Resolutions Committee, Ms. Beth Gentry Gould, Diocesan Registrar. Furthermore, those serving in other key roles of this convention, Mr. Michael Durant, Parliamentarian, the Reverend Dr. James Reho, Commission on Liturgy and Music, Mrs. Kate Johnson, Diocesan Altar Guild President, and all the many convention volunteers that make this event possible, and to the bishop's staff for their assistance in planning and administering this diocesan convention.
Thank you very much. As we prepare to bring the convention to a close, just a point of personal privilege, I'd like to invite the members of the bishop's staff that are in the house to please stand. This convention literally takes months of planning and preparation, and we're here one year, we're not here one year, right? And so there's been a lot of behind the scenes work, and I'm just so grateful for an incredible staff. And our AV team who has kept us up and running and connected, thank you all very much. Just a few concluding announcements. I just wanted to let you all know that the offering this morning raised $3,177 for the Dominican Development Group. And this is the first year we have had, as part of our diocese, a bishop's chapter of the Daughters of the King. And they organized a diocesan-wide service project to collect bedding and other items to go along with beds that are made for children in coming out of abusive situations, neglect, going into foster situations. And over 1,000 items were collected from across the diocese: bedding, sheets, stuffed animals, other items for these children. And I want to thank Miss Bonnie Jean Durning. Are you in the house, Bonnie Jean? Yeah. And there she is in the back. And would other members of the bishop's chapter, if you're in the house, would you please stand? If you're a member of the bishop's chapter of the Daughters of the King. Finally, there's an events video that we're going to forego for the sake of time. We're going to put it on Facebook about everything coming up this year and next year in 2026. The calendar of events is here, so please take a look at that and get prepared for the rest of 2025 into 2026. One of the key dates is Water and the Word, our conference on discipleship and congregational vitality. This will be our 4th year holding Water and the Word at Dayspring. That is May 1st and 2nd. And I'm pleased to announce that Bishop Phyllis Spiegel from Utah, a close friend and another passionate leader around discipleship and evangelism, is going to come and help co-lead that conference with me in May. So I'm really excited about Water and the Word in May. Finally, I'm going to call upon the Secretary of Convention to announce the dates of our 58th convention.
Resolved that the 58th Annual Diocesan Convention of the Diocese of Southwest Florida will be held on October 9 and 10, 2026, at the Charlotte Harbor Event and Conference Center in Punta Gorda, Florida.
Bishop, it'd be appropriate at this time to call for a voice vote to accept the resolution regarding the 58th Annual Diocesan Convention.
All in favor of adopting the resolution for convention to be held here next year on October 9 and 10, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Before I adjourn, let me just, several of you have suggested that we might want to look at moving convention outside of hurricane season. There are many ways in which that's not practical, but starting in 2027, we are going to be moving convention to the 4th weekend in October. So if you are a long-range planner, please note that starting in 2027, we've been on the 2nd weekend for a long, long time. In 2027, it will be on the 4th weekend of October. Are there any other matters to be brought before this convention before we adjourn? I would like to invite you to stand and let us sing the doxology, and I will offer a final blessing. Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above the heavenly host. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon you this day and remain with you always. Amen. Our 57th convention is adjourned.